What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews. Um, this is going to be a short live video because I only have 30 minutes, well, 34 minutes left on StreamYard for the month. I'm not really doing the big one. How you doing, Cody? I will hopefully have a bigger version of this live video and its topic planned out for March. And Cody, if you actually want to join in for the March one, let me know. I can work around schedules and whatnot. So yeah, tonight is going to be a John Wick versus the Accountant theory kind of video. And for those of you who haven't seen The Accountant, because it's not a movie that's really well known, it stars Ben Affleck and what's his name? The one that plays the Punisher in Netflix. Joined in March. What is scheduled in March? Well, my StreamYard will have 20 hours in March, so I'm planning on scheduling a live stream for a bigger one, or for a bigger discussion of this particular topic. John Bernthal, I think is his name, the one who plays Punisher in Netflix. He also plays in this movie. How you doing, Junebug? I would love to see a sequel to The Accountant. I thought it was very underrated. Plus, PC liberals would love it because it's puts special kids in a positive way. Thing is, it kind of would, but it also kind of wouldn't. Because, well, let's face it, capitalism, gun violence, that pisses off a lot of SJWs. But I actually did like The Accountant. I own it. I recently got it on my digital library, and I kept on thinking to myself after I watched The Accountant again, and I watch movies over and over to kind of really ingrain it. And the more I watched it, the more I've seen, it's like this kind of does have a very hardcore similarities to John Wick. Both were kids that had to toughen up, or that became assassins. Okay, to that. I own the DVD as well. It is a great movie. Ben Affleck, please make a sequel to The Accountant. Amen to both of you guys. So yeah, Cody, if you do want to come in on the March one, I'm going to set up a time. Probably going to be March 1st or 2nd, maybe. I don't know exactly when. But I will definitely let you know when I have it planned. I want to try to get other people who have seen The Accountant as well. So Junebug, if you want to also join the discussion, I could always use more panelists. I want to try to make this a full panel, which is 6 people. So yeah, it's basically about an autistic assassin, The Accountant. And this assassin, as a kid, his parents took him to a special needs specialist, or a child with special needs specialist. And you also meet the specialist's daughter, who has a disorder where she doesn't speak, and she's always hitting herself and hitting other things, and she can't really keep it together. I don't know exactly what the specific disability is that she has, but it's a real nice twist that at the end of the movie, when you figure out who's helping the accountant, it's actually her growing up. And you meet Chris Wolf, who, as a kid, one of the stims he does is he puts his hands to his mouth. For those of you who don't know what stims are a thing that autistic people have, where where most people will tap their fingers, or something that very mundane. A person with stims, one of the most common stims for an autistic person is rapid hand movements. They'll go like this, or they'll even go like this down, or they'll put their hands down, they'll shake their hands. It's rapid movement. Sometimes it can be other things too. It really depends, or it's the individual. It just really depends on what the individual does. But one of the things that intrigued me about the Accountant movie is his skill set. I mean, this guy went through 15 years of accounting and found a huge discrepancy. And it worked to a bigger conspiracy. And Anna Kendrick's in this movie. It's actually a movie that I think Anna Kendrick did a wonderful job in. But the skill set between John Wick, everybody knows the John Wick movie. So I'm just giving you a little background on the Accountant so far. So yeah, basically, will not work on my phone, so I can't join you. Okay, Junebug, that's all right. But yeah, back to the Accountant. Basically, I watched the special features to movies. It's one of the things that I absolutely love about movies, special features. You go behind the scenes. You learn more about the character that they don't tell you in the movie. And one of the things they touched on is Chris Wolf, the accountant. His name is Chris Wolf in the movie. He's the kind of person, because of his autism or spectrum, or he's on the spectrum, he will practice a move 10,000 times basically to perfect it. He's learned several, I'm talking about a dozen martial artists or martial arts styles from masters over the years of his life growing up. We don't really know how much John Wick has learned training. I mean, yes, the dude is very good with gun fu, so to speak, where close quarters combat, he uses the gun to kill people and whatnot. Sure, but the accountant, Chris, he's no slouch either. My only complaint is that I do not like John Bernthal as an actor, but I will fully admit it because I'm close-minded, because I love Thomas Jane Punisher so much. You know what? I actually thought he did a decent Punisher, John Bernthal, but I like him better in different points. I mean, I will always be partial to the Thomas Jane Punisher as well. But John Bernthal, he is a good actor, in my opinion. I actually think he actually did a very good job as Frank Castle. Not as good as Thomas Jane, but definitely a good job as a version of the Punisher. But John Bernthal also, he does a lot of good things in the movie. He actually plays the assassin's brother, who hasn't seen him in 10 years, and when they finally meet at the end of it, he actually puts it together that one of the things he does is one of the stims that Chris Wolf, the accountant, he recites the tale of Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy, born on Monday, christened on Tuesday, I can't remember Wednesday, got sick on Thursday, worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday, and that was the end of Solomon Grundy. But I think it was married on Wednesday. Yeah, married on Wednesday, ill on Thursday. Yeah. But anyway, that is one of the things that he recites to himself to kind of calm himself down or to get himself focused. And one of the things, and it's a telling thing in the movie. And after John Bernthal's security force has basically just been annihilated by his brother, who he didn't know was his brother at the time, he then hears him start reciting the tale of Solomon Grundy. And he actually recites the end of it, and that was the end of Solomon Grundy, as his brother does. And one of his other teammates who was there tries going after him. He's like, stand down, but the guy's like, fuck off, so he kills him. And then he fights his brother a little bit because he was pissed off that his brother got arrested. You're going to have to see the movie. I don't want to spoil too much, but it is a very good movie. I mean, I did kind of just spoil that bit to you. But this movie and a couple other things. First off, I think Keanu Reeves is probably immortal because he never ages. Yeah, how you doing, Moira? Good to see you. I can't believe you remember that much of this little saying. Well, the thing is, I'm also on the spectrum. So, to me, Thomas Jane is the only Punisher. Yes, I agree. The Accountant is the only time I ever said, "Hey, this is a good Ben Affleck movie." Yeah, I honestly think that he has top or Ben Affleck. He's gotten better with age, in my opinion. He ages like a fine wine. His movies get better with the stuff that he or as he progresses in life. And I absolutely, because believe it or not, Tom or The Accountant, I believe or was 3 years old. Alexa, what year did the movie The Accountant come out? Let's ask her.
I saw The Accountant, the movie, 4 years ago on
4 years ago.
14.
All right, 2016. I remember Gillian Bounce. Okay, but yeah. How you doing, Soul Assassin? Moira, good to see you guys. But anyway, getting back to The Accountant and his skill set, his father, because his father believed that you shouldn't coddle an autistic kid. You shouldn't shy them away from oversensory areas. He was military, or his father was a military person. So his father pushed his son to limits to find out his son's limits and how far he could push his kid. Now, with that said, do I agree with the methods that his father took? The tough love attitude and whatnot? In some things, yes. In other things, no. But that is a much larger discussion for the bigger live stream that I'm going to do on this subject if I can get a full panel. Moira, would you also like to join this panel in March? So yeah, I'm going to ask you, Moira, because you've seen both. You actually gave a lot of forethought into your assessment and whatnot. But the tough love worked in the film for sure. Yes, it did. I mean, when it comes to autistic kids, what will work with one will never work with the rest. Hi, Dad. Did the tough love thing with me not do the extreme? I probably would. I'll brush up on the movies to be fresh on it. Awesome. Thank you. Just let me know when is a good time for you to do it. I mean, I usually go live anytime after 8 p.m. So, yeah. Going back to the training of The Accountant, as he told Anna Kendrick, his father got him with several different masters. I have no life, so tell me what works for you. Any day, any time after 8 p.m. Unless something comes up, and then I can tell you otherwise. But any day for me after March 1st, when my StreamYard resets. But yeah, he trains with several masters, and he practices his stuff. The wonderful thing about autistics, especially ones with Asperger's on the spectrum, like The Accountant, he's very repetitive. He has what do you call it now that he has a routine. And one of the things I still don't understand was the leg rubbing thing where he's running a rod down his leg. I didn't understand why he did it. I understood the other parts with the sensory, blaring the music, flashing lights. That stuff will actually send normal autistic people into a frenzy because they can't stand the sensory overload. But he did it to protect himself from it. His father put him through all the paces so he wouldn't, or yes, he will always be autistic, but he won't be triggered by oversensory, So you can't use most of the autistic triggers against him. I remember the recent Predator movie stating that Asperger's is the next level of evolution for humans. That is a stretch, yes, because believe it or while Asperger's actually does have savants, That's what they call people who excel in certain areas who are autistic. Not every autistic person does. Chris Wolf, the accountant, he is a savant. He put a puzzle together, for crying out loud, upside down where he wasn't looking at the picture as a kid. He did 15 years of accounting and finding irregularities overnight. One of the things that most people with Asperger's or autism, they see patterns. They can recognize patterns. Some of them excel in mathematics. It's why you see a lot of things like musicians who are autistic and mathematicians who are autistic. You can see a lot of these people, they excel in one particular thing. And they also have things like they don't like to be touched. They don't like to be, or they can't handle a lot of sensory overload, meaning loud noises. I'm actually like that. If somebody blares music close to me, I get very on edge and I freak out. When I am focused on something, I am in the zone. If you bother me, I will freak or I will flip. I am actually considered on the spectrum myself. I have some of the traits, not all the traits, to call myself full-blown autistic, but I do have some of the things. I do not handle change very well. That is another thing that most autistic people cannot handle, is sudden or lasting change. If something goes against what they are used to, like a routine, they get antsy, they get irritated, they don't like it. So basically, when I had to, or small example, basically when I had to move, when I was not able to stay in my apartment after my incarceration, I got really antsy. I was pissed. It was a change that I wasn't used to, and it shocked a lot of people with how I handled it. I'm not going to say I got violent or anything. My daughter did the upside down puzzle thing when she was 3, and I looked surprised, and she never did it again. She had no autism for anything, she has no autism for anything, but she's sharp and smart. And that's the cool thing too, because you don't have to be autistic to be super smart. Some people are just geniuses. And oh, damn, we got a blizzard going on outside. I mean, there's like zero visibility right now, quite literally outside my window. But going back to the subject at hand, these autistic traits can also help a person who is learning how to, say, learn martial arts. They can learn how to focus on what they need to learn. His father imparted all of that into him as he and his brother were growing up. So it would be very fair to say that, yes, John Wick is skilled up close and personal with fighting, but they also say that he basically masters gun fu, where he always has a gun close up and he's fighting, shooting, and whatnot. Now, John Wick is not like Neo. He didn't learn all the martial arts and all that stuff. He knows some martial arts, sure, but he specializes with weapons for the most part. We've never seen him do... Well, actually, yeah, in John Wick 3, you do see more hand-to-hand without weapons. And you also see him get his ass kicked for the most part. But he still does end up pulling on top. He has a brutal way of fighting. Now, that's all well and good, but if it gets up close to the accountant, he might be in trouble. Now, if it was a battle of weapons from a distance, he'd definitely be in trouble with, or John Wick would also be in trouble, because John Wick, we know that he's an assassin. We know that he doesn't, or when he goes on to kill, he doesn't, or he'll go quick in. He can kill anybody with any object around him. Yes, that is true. He killed 3 people with a pencil in a bar. We know that. And we've seen him do it in John Wick 2. And we've seen him kill people, or for crying out loud, he also kills people with a car just by smacking them here and there and everything. John Wick with a pencil versus the accountant with a pen. That would be an interesting fight, to be honest. Because, like I said, John Wick is skilled, yes, but so is the accountant. So it is kind of hard to weigh the pros and cons, and that is why I want a panel for this the next time I discuss it in March. Because, oh my gosh, we could toss ideas back and forth all freaking night, as long as it's not a 24-hour stream. But yeah, honestly, because I've asked the question of, like last week when I first got the account, or when I first watched the accountant the first time, after getting it, because I've seen it only once before. And everybody's like, John Wick would obviously win, of course. And it's like, you're not telling me why. So I'm not going to take what you have to say with any real weight. Because, yes, everybody loves John Wick right now because John Wick is freaking awesome. And it's a movie that's made by Keanu Reeves, who is a great freaking actor. So is this your idea for a sequel to The Accountant crossover with John Wick? You know what? That would actually be one hell of a thing. I mean, they really should have like the high table freaking call up his friend who with the computer, the girl, and say, we would like your friend's help. John Wick is basically gone rogue because we all know that John Wick 4 is happening, but it's happening, but it's not going to be him versus the high table. It's actually going to be him, or the story of how he got out of the business. Quick side note, John Wick versus the bride from Kill Bill. John Wick, she's skilled with the sword, and she is an assassin, and she's skilled and whatnot. But Beatrix Kiddo, she would get, or John Wick and Beatrix Kiddo would just get married. That probably. But if they had to kill each other, it would definitely be Wick. Wick is far more skilled at assassination than Beatrix Kiddo. They could have assassin babies. Yeah, that is one way of putting it. Oh my gosh, that one was a good one, Moira. John Wick versus Batman. Oh shit. That would also be a good discussion. I would actually bring Lethal. I would want to bring Lethal Lightning on for that one. I would definitely want to bring Lethal Lightning in for that one. Yeah. But yeah, John Wick would beat the fuck off Batman. Yeah, probably. But Batman's no slouch. I mean, that dude knows like 36 different types of martial arts. I mean, Batman's no slouch either. He's not an assassin. He's not a killer. And that would probably be why Wick would probably kill him. How you doing, Amelia? But yeah, this is definitely one that I do want to have a bigger panel on and it's only going to be a panel of those who have seen the John Wick trilogy and The Accountant. You have a Batman uniform is very constricting. It's hard for him to turn his head. That issue was brought up in The Dark Knight, which they actually fixed. But it was a trade-off because the plates were separated and whatnot, and it had a separate cowl. Sorry, my voice text is bullshit. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Trust me, voice to text with me has been pissing me off too lately. I mean, I just recently realized I could do it with my damn Kindle. But back to the thing of who would win between John Wick and The Accountant. The way I see it, it depends on the situation. Batman's uniform would not give him full mobility and protection from John Wick. That is true. But which Batsuit are we talking? Are we talking the one with, or the Michael Keaton? Are we talking the Dark Knight, or are we talking the Snyderverse DCEU? Well, I just started watching Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie. I heard good things about that one, Cody. They actually addressed the woke factor, and they also smashed the woke factor too. From what I hear. I've never seen it. I haven't even seen the original Jay and Silent Bob movies. George Clooney. Oh, he was a terrible Batman, to be honest. in my opinion. He was not the best of any Batman. I mean, one of the funniest things I saw in his one was when he punched through the thing and said, "Good night," and dude finally fell over. That was one of the more comical ones. Definitely the Keaton one would be a problem. It would have to be after Christian Bale. Dark Knight Christian Bale's suit would probably be the best one to go with. Oh, you'll enjoy the Jay and Silent Bob films, or if I ever do get the chance to get them, because if I have to get a movie, I have to buy it. I mean, sure, I'll probably rent it. I'm going to look into renting them for now on, or a couple times here and there. But usually if I get a movie, I want to watch it many, many times. So I usually end up just buying it. George Clooney was a good Bruce Wayne, but a terrible Batman. Indeed. George Clooney basically played George Clooney. I mean, he was very held back because most of the time, or I've seen George Clooney when he played, or when you unleash George Clooney like they did in From Dusk Till Dawn, that was a good movie that he was in. But George Clooney in Batman and Robin, I was just not feeling it. But anyway, but John Wick versus the Accountant, back to the topic at hand. It depends ultimately on the quote-unquote scenario. If it was a battle between those two from a distance, it would probably be Chris Wolf, the Accountant. George Clooney is terrible Batman. Last movie I liked of his was Three Kings. I honestly haven't seen Three Kings. My favorite George Clooney movie is actually From Dusk Till Dawn because, yeah, reasons. Anyway, if it comes to close quarters combat with weapons, I would possibly be Wick. Now we see, or because if you look, I will look into Three Kings, Moira. But if we look at Wick and how he dispatches people up close with his gun, he goes body, head, body, head. Where you see, or when you see Wolf doing killings, he'll do grappling and whatnot. Salma Hayek, yeah. Soul Assassin Salma Hayek was good in that one. She was actually in a music video for From Dusk Till Dawn with George Clooney where she bites him and kills him. But when it comes to close quarters, if they have guns, it will be Wick. Now, if it's hand-to-hand close quarters without weapons, strictly hand-to-hand, Accountant has the upper hand. If it's any weapons that are not guns, hand-to-hand, they're pretty even. And one of the things that you notice in The Accountant, if you watch the movie, he takes a hit and he barely flinches. Now, there was a couple points where his brother was hitting on him and punching him. And he's just brushing it off because he won't fight his brother until he gets put, or until push came to overshove, you know? And we're almost 29 minutes in, so we are going to wrap this up in like 5 minutes. But yeah, it depends on the scenario. No preparation or anything like that, because if you give them a week prep, have a good night, Amelia. If you give them a week's prep, I would definitely say that the Accountant would win. His autistic mind allows him to do all sorts of things. Not all sorts of things that would give him a distinct edge, but definitely he would come up with definitive ways to kill John Wick with ease. But yeah, if it came to what about environmental factors? Are you talking about like weather or what? Because define environmental factors, Soul Assassin. But yeah. Well, John Wick looks really good in the ring. Yeah, he hasn't aged. And he does look good. Like building alleyways. So you're talking about using the environment to your advantage. Thing is, both of them use it to their advantage in very good or in very simple ways. I mean, you see the accountant fighting and whatnot. He used, or when he was rescuing Anna Kendrick, he used what was around him to his advantage. John Wick would be all over the hallways and alleyways like a spider monkey. Yeah, definitely. After seeing the third John Wick movie, it's very simple to say that is definitely a true statement, Moira. Anyway, folks, I am going to start wrapping this up because if you guys want to be a part of the bigger discussion that will be in March, watch the movies, get them fresh in your mind. It's either going to be March 1st or March 2nd, depending on what I have to do, because we are getting hammered here, so I might be a little behind with some stuff. I haven't been able to do videos today because of a lot of weather happenings and whatnot, and internet was spotty earlier. But anyway, folks, I'm glad that a lot of you guys joined. Moira, Soul Assassin, Amelia, Junebug. Who else did we get? Cody. And Soul Assassin. Who else did we have? But yes, I want to thank all of you guys for coming on and listening to me talk for the most part about it. So yeah, if you guys want to be a part of the live stream, leave me a DM on Twitter or Messenger, and I will, or if you have me on Messenger. But for those of you who have my Twitter, you know how to reach me there. And we can come up with a perfect time for a full panel discussion of John Wick versus the Accountant. Anyway, folks, that is the video. Y'all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know down in the comments below what you all think. Who would win in a fight between John Wick or the Accountant? And with that said, folks, this has been Orange Hat Reviews. Catch y'all on the next one.